And that's where book one leaves us. Wrecked, ruined, and ready for more.
Or are we at the end of the book? I know for a fact that many Nyaxia fans are feral for Septimus and cannot wait for part one of the Bloodborne duology. So anyway, I digress. Let's stay in this book.
She's a queen, and so are we. So remind yourself often, Your Majesties.
Yes, Your Majesty. We are officially starting a Jasmine fan club. Thank you, Jasmine.
No, for real though.
Oh,
she deserves a spot in the 13.
My gosh. Jasmine.
Yeah.
Manon.
Talk about power.
Hi, and welcome to Romantasy Remedy. I'm Whitney.
And I'm Kenzie. We're sisters-in-law and book besties who thrive on daily doses of magic and romance from our favorite fantasy stories.
So, if your emotional support animal is a dragon and your therapist has shadow powers, you're in the right place. Thanks for being here and for liking, rating, and following our show. Before we get started, this is our official content warning. Simply put, Romantasy Remedy is a podcast for grown-ups. The topics and language will reflect that. Please listen at your comfort level.
And one more thing before we dive into The Serpent and Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. Our spoiler warning. For most of the episode, there will only be spoilers for chapters 55 through 56. But at the end of today's episode, we will have our Spoiler Central segment where we make connections to events later in the book and the entire Crowns of Nyaxia series. Don't worry, we'll give another big warning before Spoiler Central begins.
Do you feel a little bit like an air flight attendant when we read that opening part? Like when I'm like, yes, please listen at your comfort level.
I feel like I'm in the call center again when I have to read like my scripts.
Now look at Kenzie as she shows you how to put on your oxygen mask.
You can't help others before you help yourself.
Oh my gosh, hilarious. Okay, one of our goals at Romantasy Remedy is to highlight how books in this genre inspire readers. When we see characters facing fears, overcoming challenges, and growing into their potential, it helps us to do the same. So each week, we'll choose a quote from the chapters we read to be an affirmation, a phrase to empower and motivate us. This week's affirmation says, "You are not a prisoner, you are a queen." We love this because we all have times when we need the reminder that we are a queen, that we can choose to step into our power and not allow difficulties to make us a prisoner. We base this affirmation on words spoken by Jasmine. Keep listening to get all the details surrounding this amazing quote later in the episode. And don't forget, you can find a printable version of the affirmation in the show notes in case you want to stick it on your mirror, your fridge, or wherever. And with that, Kenz is going to recap what happened in this week's section of chapters.
Yes, it's time for a vampire wedding.
Dun, 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 dun.
If only it was that romantic.
I know.
Rain does give heartfelt vows. Araya can't quite promise him her heart, but the priestess says, good enough. And just like that, they're married. Power couple unlocked. Later, Jasmine climbs castle walls to swear loyalty. Araya, starting to step into her queen energy, tells her to wait while she gathers intel. Jasmine gives her a pep talk, and honestly, it works. Rain escorts Araya to the throne room. Septimus slides in with his politician smile, pitching alliances and shared goals. The future's a storm of power, politics, and trust issues. And the book ends with Rain asking the question we've all been asking since chapter 1. Are you going to kill me? Araya's answer, not tonight. And that's where book 1 leaves us. Wrecked, ruined, and ready for more.
How are we at the end of the book?
I feel like we just started this journey. I know. And with the wedding.
All right. Let's talk about this vampire wedding.
Yeah.
Araya probably didn't dream about getting married. She doesn't strike me as one of those girls. But if she did, these were not the circumstances that she expected. I'll admit that the words of the ceremony are surprisingly romantic. Vampires are full of surprises.
Yes.
A priestess comes in and cuts both their palms. Rain drinks Araya's blood and says the following. Array of the Nightborn, I give you my body, I give you my blood, I give you my soul, I give you my heart, from this night until the end of nights, from daybreak until our days are broken. Your soul is my soul, your heart is my heart, your pain is my pain, I bind myself to you. I wanted it all to be a lie, but it was not a lie. In this moment, I recognized with unmistakable clarity that Rain was in love with me. Are we still too mad at Rain to swoon a little bit?
I was never too mad at Rain to swoon a little bit. And you know he was going to be romantic. It was Araya we needed to be worried about.
Yeah, and I think we still do need to be worried about it because she drinks some of Rain's blood and admits that she surprisingly likes it. Interesting. And she
Yes.
says it tastes like the sky. Now, I am not sure what the sky tastes like, but we do know that Araya really loved flying with Rain, and that she basically said if she could, she'd spend all her time flying,
Right.
being in the sky. And so this comparison is very telling. And Araya then tries to make her vows just like Rain did, but she cannot bring herself to say, I give you my heart. So the priestess is kind of like pushing her. She's kind of like, excuse me, your highness, you have to say it for it to
Gotta
count.
say something.
and Rain's like, no, she doesn't. She doesn't have to. So anyway, I guess he's a king and he can do what he wants. So she doesn't have
He
to.
is always just so good. He does not make anyone do anything without consent. Like, he is
True.
consistent
True.
with that.
Yes, very true. That's a great point. And after the ceremony is done, Araya is totally defeated. She pretty much feels like she lost her autonomy, she lost her name, her blood, her country.
Right.
She's really having like a downer moment here. And so she tells Rain that she wants to be alone. And he leaves and locks the door. That was kind of where my desire to swoon about him scurried away because I was like, you locked her in, dude.
Yes. I think
So I'm kind of
that's,
mad about that.
yeah,
But
the locking
I
it,
get it, but I'm mad about it.
agreed. I get it. I don't like it. I get it.
Also, she's so powerful. Like, are those locks even? I mean, if she really wanted to get out of there, couldn't she get
Right.
out of there? Unless they're magicked somehow, but I don't know.
She
Anyway,
never know.
the point is he locks her in. So,
Right. He does.
not
And I
cool.
don't like it, but I get it. And it's a good thing, Ashley, because an unexpected visitor shows up because I need a pick me up, and Aurelia really needs a pick me up. And
Yeah, she does.
close to dawn, someone taps on Aurea's window, and it's Jasmine, Vincent's head guard and casual lover. And I'm not gonna lie, I totally forgot about her. She was such a side character that I just really didn't give like a whole lot of thought
Yeah, she was
to.
like at the feast at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
And then she comes to torture Rain.
Yes.
And then that's it. So
Yeah, she was just kind of like not a lot of thought to
And
Jasmine.
Araya, like most of the time, is annoyed with her. Like,
Right.
she
Doesn't
doesn't
say
really
any nice.
care for her. Yeah.
Exactly. So it's interesting that she's the one that shows up to her window, but Jasmine tells Araya that she wanted to see her before leaving the city to meet her soldiers outside the walls. Because remember, bloodborne vampires it's just chaos, right? And she
Right.
says they've had a lot of casualties thanks to the bloodborne. And then she affirms her loyalty to Araya, her queen. And when Araya tells her that she's now married to Rain, Jasmine goes, I told you he was trouble. Pretty trouble, but trouble. Gotta love that.
She
I
did
told you
say
so
that.
job. No, she did. And she's like, do you remember? I told you so.
I told you.
I told you so. Yes. Jasmine, she really surprised me with this interaction. She then asks Araya for orders. And Araya's kind of like, crap. I'm like, okay, that's my job now, I guess. And next, Jasmine has some of my favorite lines actually in this whole book. She says, if I may speak frankly, Highness, you are not a prisoner. You are a queen. I have broken the unbreakable before. She pulled open her shirt, revealing her scar. I was bound to a man who sought to control me too once. I nearly gave my life to break that bond, but I'm free now. I could free you too. And there's our affirmation. You are not a prisoner, you are a queen. I love this because life can make us all feel like a prisoner sometimes, right? Whether it's a difficult relationship, a job we hate, a chronic illness, mental health challenges, financial struggles, even just the mundane day to day, right? The list goes on. And human nature has us falling into victim mentality, which Araya totally was doing, but I love how Jasmine reminds her of her true identity here. She's a queen, and so are we. Freeing ourselves starts with the shift in our thinking. So go print this affirmation and remind yourself often, Your Majesties.
Yes, Your Majesties. Oh, this is such a great affirmation. I really, really love Jasmine and this whole little section
It,
and this affirmation.
it was totally like a 180 for her character. Not saying like her character did a 180, but like my view of her character was like,
Yes, yes. I
oh,
think we're just getting a totally different side of her that we did
yes,
not see before.
for sure.
And like you said, Araya really needed to hear this because she
Yes.
was just starting to crumble. And also, like you said, we can relate to that. I think we all have those moments like Araya was having where we just feel like life is not being kind to us and we cannot deal with it. Means so much when someone can come in and remind you that you are powerful and you are capable.
Yes.
At the same time, if that doesn't happen, you are capable of reminding yourself, like, to be your own Jasmine in a sense, and remind yourself to, like, straighten your crown and
Right.
go get it, right?
It's great to have hype men, but you have to be your first
Sometimes you have
hype
to be your
man.
own, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
totally. Well, right after this line, Jasmine goes on to say that she used to be, or actually, you already touched on this, so I'm just going to kind of repeat what you said.
Yeah.
Jasmine says that she used to be bound to a man who tried to control her and she broke free. So she shows Araya that scar on her chest. And if you remember back at the beginning of the book, Araya says that Jasmine was rumored to have survived a staking. So that sounds painful.
Yes, I
um,
forgot about that.
Right. And so I'm just going to be like fangirling over Jasmine the rest of the episode
For
because of
sure.
this. Her confidence is amazing. And she's a great example of someone who has been through tough things and survived and thrived. And now she is like passing that on to somebody else. She's trying to help somebody else survive a tough situation. She's like, let
For
me
sure.
teach you, let me help you.
Right.
And she continues the best pep talk that Obi Trace has ever seen by telling Araya not to rely on Rain for her protection. This is kind of what we were just talking about.
Right.
And she reminds Araya that she has teeth too, and that they
Yes.
are sharper than his.
I love
And
that.
then Jasmine leaves right after that. So yeah, I love this. Actually, I was wondering, Kenz, can you read how Araya describes Jasmine's
Yes.
exit because it's pretty
Yes.
epic.
I'd love to. Reyes says, Jasmine gave me no time to tell her anything else before she disappeared into the night, scaling the castle walls with the ease of someone who had centuries of experience slipping through the locked windows of powerful men. I love it.
That is so good.
It's so good. Let's start the official Jasmine fan club. She's awesome. I loved Misha in this book because I was like, oh, she's such a girl's girl. And now I'm like, Jasmine's such a girl's girl too. Like,
Yes, in a
love
totally
it.
different way, right?
Yes,
Misha is more the girl's girl, like that you're going to stay up at the sleepover and chat with all
for
night and
sure.
share your secrets.
Right.
Jasmine is the one you're going to come to when you are in some deep trouble and you really need
Yes.
some help. And
Yes.
you're like, that girl's going to get me where I need to be.
Yes. Love her. So good. And it was such a fun thing to have her come in right there. So at nightfall the next day, Rain and Karis come get Araya. And side note, we talked about him locking her in. They have 4 locks on her door, and they take her to the throne room, and Araya notices all the artwork has been changed. All except the one she saw Rain next to at the very beginning, the painting of the Rishon falling. So
Yes.
cool full circle moment. And someone is waiting for them in the throne room when they arrive. Someone who is very sneaky, someone who likes cigarillos. I'll give you one guess. Septimus.
Septimus.
So everyone's favorite blood-born vampire tells Araya he's happy they get to work together. And Araya kind of snaps back that working with him is just murdering half the kingdom at this point. Um, Give us one of Septimus's responses. They're always so good.
Yes, I would love to. Here's what he says. Perhaps the same impulses that drive my people are the ones that drive you to murder in your human slums. After all, your people weren't the only ones used as pawns in our goddess's little games. Does this make anybody else insanely curious to know more about Septimus, about the Bloodborne in general?
Man,
I mean, you gotta wonder.
yes.
And actually, I know for a fact that many Nyaxia fans are feral for Septimus and cannot wait for his books to come out next year. Well, at least book one will come out next
Right.
year, part one of the Bloodborne duology. So, anyway, I digress. Let's stay in this book. Septimus goes on to say, I told you I don't make bets that I can lose, and every bet I've made on you has been a winning one, Dove. I hope you can find it in your heart to call me a friend. You may find that we have more in common than you think. We're the only ones here who know what it's like to fight against time. Counts for a lot in this world, doesn't it? Okay, Septimus, taking back all the bad things I said about you
Right.
right now.
I know I've told you this before. I don't know if I've told you on the podcast. And I know it does not match his subscription, but there's a music artist. What is his name? Youngblood. Was that his name?
I think
And
so.
that's all I picture. That is all I picture with Septimus because of the way he like looks at people when he talks and his accent. I'm like, I just need him to say Dove. Like that's all I need him to do. Just say Dove.
Let's tag him on Instagram and see what we can do. Maybe we can convince him to
Right?
read one of Septimus's lines for us. It would be so
I would
great.
die. Yes. So look at Septimus making meaningful personal connections here. What is happening?
I'm telling you, there's more to Septimus than we think.
No. The theories and conspiracies we can come up
Yes,
with around him, right?
spoiler for Spoiler Central.
Right.
It's going to be a lot about Septimus and the Bloodborne vampires. I'm
That's
actually
exciting.
super excited about it.
So Septimus saunters away just as Rain returns to Araya's side, and he leads Araya to the ballroom, and they're looking out over Sivernage through the floor-to-ceiling windows. And pause, because the palace sounds gorgeous, right? I want to
Yes,
go there.
me
Like
too. It
floor-to-ceiling
sounds
windows.
lovely.
Yes. But as they're gazing across the city, Rain takes Araya's hand, and she lets him.
That's
She
a
lets him.
big leap from when she was gouging his eyes out, like not
Right.
too long ago.
Right. And listen to what Araya says, or what Araya is thinking in this. She said, my friend, my enemy, my lover, my captor, king and slave, human and vampire, and perhaps the only other person who had ever really understood what it was like to have a heart that bled both red and black. I hated him and I loved him, and I couldn't even try to deny how beautiful he was, with this life-marked face doused in the flickering light of our world falling to the ash. She still loves him. I'm so glad. And his
I
beautiful
know.
face.
I know. And his majestic wings.
I know. But so many conflicting feelings. So many
I
conflicting
know.
feelings.
I
But
know.
Whit, how does it end, though?
My gosh, I just saw an Instagram post that said when you're reading a good book, you want to finish it, but also you don't because you don't want it
Right.
to end.
Right?
And I kind of feel that right now. Good thing that this is a duology, so it's not really the end. Here is how The Serpent and the Wings of Night ends. And what about you? He murmured. His thumb stroked my cheek, traced the line of my jaw. Are you going to kill me, Araya? He said it just as he had a lifetime ago as dawn encroached on an alleyway in the human slums. And just like that night, I didn't pull away from his touch. Instead, I pressed my palm flat to his chest. Behind him, my kingdom burned. I thought maybe, not tonight, I said. And that's the end. The end. The only reason I'm not squealing and kicking my feet right now is because I'm being recorded. But otherwise, I would be. I know that life just got hella complicated for these two, but I still love them and I'm still rooting for them. What are your
Yes.
thoughts about this ending, Kenz?
think it says so much about Carissa Broadbent's writing that she was able to full circle around with the "Are you going to kill me?" and she's like, "Not tonight." And the painting, like, all of it
Yes.
is so good.
Yes.
I
Love a good
think
full circle moment.
for sure. So, like, when we've read other books and the female main character is always kind of, like, just mad and pissy, like, I understand it when they're mad at, like, the main male character. I'm glad that we got to end on, like, a decent note, and not
Yes.
like a hate him and I'm still trying to kill him, because at least we got, like, a little, "Okay, there's hope.
Right. Right.
There's hope."
Well, and I think that that goes back to something we've mentioned before, but Carissa Broadbent is so good at creating these complex characters. Nobody is fully good or fully bad. I mean, maybe it's the
Right.
master of morally gray, but like Araya,
That's a good way to
I,
put it.
I just love how it shows, like, yes, she is grieving her father.
Right.
Also, she does still have feelings for Rain, and she's kind of owning that here. And so you can see all these conflicting emotions inside her.
Right.
And I really appreciate that about Carissa's writing, that you get to see the duality of all these characters. Because I
Right.
think we're all like that too. We have the
For
good and the bad,
sure.
and all of it's inside of us. And that's what makes us such complicated beings. But I do love that we got to see that in Araya at the end of the book.
Yes.
It wasn't, like you said, a totally hopeless, like, I hate you, I'm never going to love you
Yes.
again.
It's not one of those, like, cliffhangers like some other books I'm not gonna
Mm.
mention right now.
I think I know what you're talking about. I do. Well, I feel like we can't leave this book without maybe sharing some of our overall, like, thoughts and takeaways
Yes.
from the book altogether. So,
Okay.
is there anything off the top of your head, when you finish this book, or, just as we're ending our discussion now, any big takeaways for you, or big lessons or things you just loved about The Serpent and the Wings of Night?
Things that I just loved. I mean, it's gonna be kind of a cliche thing, but I love the girl power in this book, as far as Araya was really struggling, right? And really did not think a lot of herself. And Rain helped her, but Misha was huge for her. And I think it speaks a lot to how important friends are, and uh, how they can help us reach potential that we didn't normally see in ourselves. And I think that was huge for me. And it's something that I want my girls to know growing up, that, like, girlfriends are important. And I want you to be those for other people, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I also think we kind of touched on it in our last episode about communication, because I think that's one thing that um, Araya lacked from Vincent, was communication and transparency, and that she found it in Rain most of the time. And I think
We're still working on that. It's
still working
okay.
on it, as all we are. But
We're in a tough spot. Let's be real.
they were
The Kajari is not a great place to start a
no,
relationship.
no, it's not. So I like that. I like the girl power. I like Jasmine coming in at the end and really
Yeah,
lifting
I mean,
Araya up.
really from the beginning, right? You've got Ilana and
Yes.
the place that
How
she
could I
held for
forget
Araya.
her?
Because it was a long time ago. She dies
Right.
like 10 pages into the book. You've got
Right.
Ilana, and then you have Misha, and then you have Jasmine, just all of
Yes.
these awesome female characters. And
Yes.
Araya's an awesome character, too.
No,
I kind of
absolutely.
liked that about this book, that she, I don't know. I don't know what made her seem unique to me. Maybe just that, she was kind of strong right from the get-go. Like, there was
Right.
no training period where she had to learn to be strong. She, like, just came out ready
Right.
to go, really strong.
Right.
And her training was more of the, like, emotional kind, and
Yes.
learning how to have feelings and
Right. For sure.
that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I liked, or I appreciated that about her.
I agree. Yeah, I think Araya, and like you said, I can't quite put my finger on why, but I think she is one of my favorite female characters from a lot of the Romantasy series we've read.
Mm-hmm.
She's one, because, like, there's some that I'm like, I could give her take. I actually like Araya's character. I feel like she's relatable. I feel like you said earlier, like, we all have good and bad, and it's nice to see that in her, and
Yes.
it's very transparent with
Yes,
her.
agreed. And that's one of my favorite things about this book, is getting to see that in all the characters, like I said a few minutes
Yeah.
ago. But,
Yeah.
Vincent is a great example of a complex
Yes.
character. I mean, one of the best I've ever read, actually. And
Yes.
It's really kind of a pleasure and a treat to read his character in this book and read how it
Yes.
affects Araya. And I think it's something we can all relate to,
Yes.
how those kind of relationships play out in our
For
own
sure.
lives. And so I really love the way Carissa wrote Vincent and just created that his
Agreed.
character. So love that.
Yes.
Love that. And we all
Agreed.
love Rain. We all love Rain. I mean, what can I say about
Always.
Rain? There is like a Rain haters club by the end of Serpent and the Wings of
Don't
Night.
understand that, but okay.
No,
Okay. Just kidding.
he killed her dad. I mean, it is what it is.
I do
But
like Rain though, because we were talking about earlier, he's always so cognizant of what others are going through and asking for consent. I think that he was always very aware of that.
yeah, just really considerate, right?
Very.
And I appreciate that about him. And I do think too, thinking back throughout the book, even from the get-go when he first comes into the feast with the other contestants and like kills that one guy with his
Yeah.
asterisk.
I forgot about
But
that. Yeah.
as you get to know him better, you realize, and Araya says this when she starts fighting with him in the human districts, that everything he does is very intentional. Like when he's flinging his magic and his fighting skills around, it's not just to show brute force. There's a very
Right.
strategic way that he's doing things. And I think that's how he operates with everything. There's just a
Yes.
strategic way. And I think that's why Araya kind of threw him off so much, because his feelings for her like totally screwed with his strategy. Like he
Yeah.
couldn't figure out how to navigate all of his responsibilities
Right.
with these feelings for Araya. And anyway, I do love
Agreed.
his character. I think he's very intentional. I think he's very considerate. He sounds like he's not too bad to look at. So
Helps.
Rain and his majestic wings. But I think like at the root of it, this is just a great story because it's entertaining, it's
Yes.
action-packed, it has a great love story, it has great
Yes.
relatable characters, and the writing is stunningly beautiful, as I
It is.
have fangirled about the entire time. Carissa is a top-tier
No,
wordsmith.
she really
So
is.
good.
It's funny because when you and I started this like journey of reading books together and discussing them, before we started this, I never annotated anything. I never highlighted anything. I have highlighted in this book more than any other book ever because just the way they're written and the imagery you get from the way she writes things is so good. It is so good. Cheers. Kudos,
Yes.
Carissa.
Yes.
It's
She's
amazing.
amazing.
She
Big
really is.
fan.
So,
Big
yeah.
fan.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing your favorite things and
Yes.
final thoughts on The Serpent and the Wings of Night. And that's where we end our exploration of the whole book, apparently.
Right.
Uh,
Already? Yeah.
I know. Like every week, though, we are still going to share a true story that connects to this section of chapters that we read. And today I want to tell you a story about my middle child and about me. So, when my middle child was born, he failed his hearing test. And a few months later, we learned that he was deaf. As you might expect, this was unexpected and unsettling. I found myself grieving the life that I thought he would have and worrying very much about his future. Not to mention, I felt woefully inadequate and completely unprepared to help him. We were soon connected with an incredible school in our city, and the school is designed specifically for children who are deaf, and they had a program for infants and parents. So basically, anyone with a child ages 0 to 3, you could enroll in this program. It's called the Parent-Infant Program. So I began meeting weekly with therapists, with teachers and audiologists who lovingly educated me, answered my questions, and soothed my doubts. They treated me like family. When my son had cochlear implant surgery, our therapist actually came and sat with us in the waiting room. So going
I
like
didn't
above
know
and
that.
beyond her duty as a therapist, right?
Yes.
And they also connected me with other moms who either had already walked this path or who were currently walking it right along with me. And these moms were the best. They openly would share their wisdom, their struggles, and their hearts. Many of them became dear friends. So, my son attended the school until he was 6 years old, and he made so many friends and felt completely loved there and accepted there. And these women, so these teachers and therapists and audiologists and the other moms, these women really empowered both of us to embrace this part of my son and to boldly look to the future. What started as something scary and uncertain blossomed into something beautiful. These women were like a group of Jasmines for me. They
I
were
love it.
they were friends who showed up when I really needed them and who reminded me that I wasn't a prisoner to this challenge. They taught me how to straighten my crown and guide my little kingdom through this battle. And for that, I will always be grateful. So that is my true story today.
I'm so glad you had that community because I don't think other people would ever be able to relate like someone who's right there alongside with you that's been in that. And I'm so glad you had that. And I love that little boy
Yes.
so much. He's come so far. He like
He
such a
is a
good
little
kid.
warrior, man.
Yeah, he is. He's awesome.
Goodness.
He's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, Wit. Before
My
we go,
pleasure.
let's take a quick moment to express our gratitude to a character who we admire from this stretch of chapters. And I don't think it's any surprise, but today's note is for Jasmine. So here it goes. Dear Jasmine, thank you for being the friend who risks everything, not just on the battlefield, but for the people you believe in. Scaling castle walls just to reach Araya? That wasn't just reckless courage, that was loyalty in its purest form. And in that moment, you didn't just pledge yourself to her, you reminded her that she was never a prisoner, but a queen, that she wasn't weak, but powerful. Thank you for showing your scar, proof that strength and survival leave their marks. And thank you for offering your hard won wisdom to empower someone else instead of keeping it locked away. Your bravery lit a fire in Araya and in us too, the kind of ally every queen deserves. So, from your friends at Romantasy Remedy, Jasmine, thank you.
We are officially starting a Jasmine fan club. Thank you, Jasmine.
No, for real though. Like,
My
she deserves a
goodness.
spot in the 13.
Oh my gosh. Jasmine,
Yeah.
Manon. Who else would be in this club?
Talk about a power,
Yes.
not power
The
couple, but a
Valkyries,
power.
maybe. Get
Yeah,
all these girls together.
yes.
They would be
Crossover.
unstoppable. Oh man, the best of crossovers.
Yeah. For real.
Well, I can't believe it, but this really is the end of
I
our
know.
exploration of the Serpent and the Wings of Night. So thank you, Kenzie, for going on this journey through this book
Thank
with
you.
me. And thank you, everybody who listened. We are going to keep the party going because
Yes.
in the next episode, we will start exploring Six Scorched Roses, also by Carissa Broadbent. If you're not familiar with the reading order of the Crowns of Nyaxia,
Yes.
Six Scorched Roses is actually a novella that you can read at a few different places in your journey, but we're going to start covering it before Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. So please come and join us for the next episode as we dive into Six Scorched Roses. We have reached the end of the main portion of our episode. Thank you so much for listening. Look for Romantasy Remedy on Instagram and TikTok. Check the show notes for those links, as well as links to the printable affirmation and soundtrack playlist on Spotify.
We're really looking forward to connecting with you and nerding out over all the best romantasy. After this, we'll begin the spoiler central segment of the episode, which you shouldn't listen to if you haven't finished the entire series, including the rest of this book. We're totally those book besties where one of us reads at a normal speed and one of us reads faster than you can winnow from here to Valaris. Since Whitney is a speed reader, I'm going to duck out while she does spoiler central.
All right, you've been warned. Here come the spoilers. The first and only thing I want to talk about in Spoiler Central today is Araya's conversation with Septimus and how it connects with things we learn about the bloodborne vampires in later books. Basically, guys, this is a mini deep dive about the bloodborne vampires, and I am stupid excited about it. At the end of The Serpent and the Wings of Night, Septimus comments that he and Araya are the only ones in this world who know what it's like to fight against time. We learn more about why that is in Ashes and the Star-Cursed King and in Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. According to the glossary of terms of the Nyaxia world, which I believe you can find at the end of each book for sure on Carissa Broadbent's website, I looked this little snippet up at the back of my copy of Slaying the Vampire Conqueror. Here's what it says about the bloodborne vampires. It says that they were initially Nyaxia's favorites, and because of that, she was taking her time to decide what kind of magical gift to bestow upon them. But 2,000 years ago, they grew impatient and decided that Nyaxia had probably abandoned them and they turned on her. So this is when she infamously cursed them and also decided not to give them any magic at all, unlike the Nightborn who have Nightfire and Asteris, and the Shadowborn who have all their cool shadow mind magic. But the Bloodborne vampires have no magic and their lives end much sooner than the other vampires in the most undignified way where they basically lose their minds. So, sad day for the Bloodborne vampires. It's good to know that little bit of history. In Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, Septimus and Araya have a conversation that's not long before the coup where they try to betray and overthrow Rain. And Septimus tells Araya about his brother who a seer had prophesied would save the House of Blood. And this is the same prince that Atreus, the main male character from Slaying the Vampire Conqueror, the same prince that Atreus was loyal to. And Atreus created an army for this prince. He followed him on this decades-long quest to earn back Nyaxia's favor, doing all kinds of terrible stuff at her bidding. When they brought everything that Nyaxia asked for, she laughed at them. And then she killed the prince and commanded Atreus to take his head back to the king and queen of the House of Blood, aka the prince's parents. And on top of all of that, she also cursed Atreus and additionally commanded him to go and conquer a new kingdom in her name. As if these poor vampires have not lost enough. In Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, Septimus also tells Araya that he actually had 6 brothers. All of them are dead now, which makes Septimus the last resort for the House of Blood. And after everything goes down in Ashes, Septimus kind of disappears. Then he reappears in the bonus chapter for Slaying the Vampire Conqueror with a mysterious magical black box and an invitation to Atreus to return to Obi-Trace and help him. Then we see Septimus again in The Fallen and the Kiss of Dusk. First, we see him in the House of Shadow because Nyaxia summoned both the House of Blood and the House of Shadow to help her fight the gods of the White Pantheon. She snubbed the House of Night because remember all the drama with Nyaxia refusing to grant the Coriatis bond to Araya, so Araya asked Acacia for it and she gave it, so there's some drama there. Anyway. In Fallen the Kiss of Dusk, Septimus arranges for Atreus to take Misha and Asar to the Deadlands. And after he does that, he kind of disappears for the rest of the book until the epilogue. And this is where it gets really juicy. So in the epilogue, he pledges his loyalty to Nyaxia alongside of Ygritte, who is the queen of the House of Shadow at this point. And then the epilogue zooms forward 10 years. And we see Septimus among all the ravages of war in the human lands. And he is there reflecting on how carefully he's crafted his maneuvers over the last 10 years and how he is now indispensable to Nyaxia. Also, in this moment, he is wondering where he can find a sword that was gifted to a human by Shikit, the goddess of justice. So, remember, in chapter 62 of Fallen, we met a human woman named Kyrene, and she is wearing a sigil of Shikit and carrying a sword. Well, guess what? Carissa Broadbent's website already has the description for first part of the Bloodborne duology, which is titled The Lion and the Deathless Dark. And that description reveals that Kyrene is the female main character. Very cool that we got to meet her in Fallen. It also says that Kyrene was gifted a sword by the goddess of justice and that she has to make a deal with Septimus in order to survive. I already love how the story is unfolding. And the mutual goal between Septimus and Kyrene is to kill the gods themselves. So all of this to say that in The Serpent and the Wings of Night, when Septimus makes his comment to Araya about fighting against time, there is a lot of hidden meaning there. And I think that there's a lot more to Septimus than we understand in The Serpent and the Wings of Night and in Ashes and the Star-Cursed King. I know that he makes some very questionable choices, and we don't like him very much in the Nightborn duology. But after reading Slaying the Vampire Conqueror and The Fall and the Kiss of Dusk, I am so curious to learn more about him and to see his story unfold in the Bloodborne duology. So, thank you for indulging me in this mini deep dive all about the Bloodborne vampires. And thank you for listening to this final episode of The Serpent and the Wings of Night on Romantasy Remedy. Please come back next week and join us for our first episode of Six Scorched Roses. Thanks, guys. Bye.